In this video, I'm going to share on how to create a feedback system where you have a feedback form and also the database over here. So inside the feedback form, you can actually choose the student's name as what you see over here. And then after that, you can choose the teacher and today's lesson and the date. And you rate the teacher, the slides and the homework and exercises and some things on what can be improved and what you like about the lesson. And in your database over here, this allows you to also get the teacher's view on how well they have performed, the lesson's view on what can be improved, and also the student's view on what is their overall rating for every lesson. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing is to sign up for an Airtable. So you can sign up for free, or if you have an existing Airtable, you can also sign in, or you can just continue with Google. So once you're signed in, the next part is to create your own workspace if you don't have any. So I'm going to create a workspace and I'm going to call it as Harris Tuition, right? Then after that, you're going to create your own base. So a base is essentially like a Google Sheet. So there's two options: build an app with AI and start from scratch. That's what you see over here. So you see that it creates a base. So usually I call the base as operations, and then you can choose any color you like. So usually you have the dark colors, so I'll just choose the dark color over here. Then the icon itself, you can do whatever you want lah, right? So there's a couple things that you need to add inside the operations. Let's close this over here. So the first one will be students, so you can rename this table and type in students, and then you can add your students details as what you see over here. So what you can do is you can just go and click on the column, and then after that just delete the field, right? So you can also highlight holding down shift, right click, and then delete two fields as well. So usually for the students, I'll just put in the name and also the email. So you can click on the plus, type in find the field type, and click on email as what you see over here. So maybe I'll put my own name as Haris, and the email is haris@edugrow.org, and add another person, Bala, and then put the email as bala@gmail.com. And then maybe this one will be Sarah, and then this is sarah@gmail.com. So you can pause this video and add your student's name and email and other details as well. So once done, the next thing is to add another table. So you have your students table inside your operations base. So you see this add or import, click on it, and you see add a blank table, so start from scratch. So the next table is we are going to create our lessons, right? So in our feedback form, if you remember, we have students, lessons, and also teachers as well. So we're going to type in lessons over here and save. So the lessons itself, same thing, delete this default, just highlight and delete three fields over here. And then I'm going to add in addition. So this is like a math tuition, addition, subtraction, and then after that you have multiplication as well, and many more. So you can pause this video to add in your lessons. So I'm going to just simplify as much as possible. So the next part is then to create another table. So start from scratch again. So students lessons, and do you remember what was the last table that we need to create? Correct. It is the teachers table. So the teachers table, click on save. Then same thing, delete the three different fields. So you have your different teachers that you have. So Mr. Lim, right? Miss Lam, and also Madam Johnny, right? And then in this name, you probably have email as well. So we can go and find the field type, email. And then after that, maybe put here lim@haristuition.com. And then this will be lam@haristuition.com. And then this will be johnny@haristuition.com. That's what you see over here. So now you have these three tables. We need these three tables because in the feedback, we want to have a feedback on our teachers, our lessons, and also we can filter according to the students as well. So let's create a new table, and this will be feedbacks. So I see over here. All right, so in the name section, so let's delete this thing over here, delete three fields. So in the name section over here, we don't really have a name for feedback. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it as an ID. So essentially just a simple number to attach to a single row, as what you see over here. Then after that, we're gonna rename this. So click on this, edit field, and type in ID. See. So after that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna attach the students, lesson, and teachers record inside the ID field, as what you see over here. So we're gonna link to another record. So first we're gonna have the students. And then after that, we won't allow, because we want only have one feedback to one student. That's what I see over here, right? So for the students over here, we'll probably not add any lookup fields. So we're just gonna skip. So the next one will be the lesson. So we're gonna link to another record, lessons as well. No, we don't want to allow linking of multiple records, create field, and then you don't need a lookup field as well on this. And lastly, we have the teachers. So link to another record, teachers. So just one teacher, and then create field as well. So the only thing that we want is the email. Because at the end of this video, I'm going to share a little bonus on some automations. So add one field as what you see over here. So now you have a couple of rows as what you see over here. Okay. So now the thing is that in this form, you are able to select a student, the lesson, and the teacher. The next part is then we're going to have the ratings. So for the ratings itself, we're going to type in the file field type rating. And then usually for me personally, I like to use the number 10. And then for the field name itself, I'm going to put here as teacher rating. And then I'm going to create a field. And this is the teacher rating that has been created for us. As you can see, we can rate right from 1 to 10. So I'm going to highlight this, and then right click, and I'm going to duplicate the field. So I'm going to change this to the lesson slides rating. Lessons slide rating if you have any lesson slides itself. Okay, and then save. And then lastly, I'm gonna also duplicate this into the homework rating, right? So I'm gonna change this to homework, or you could say exercises rating. That's what I see over here. And then save it. So these are the different things that you want. Okay. And then after that, we can start creating our forms. So to create our form, we can go over here. But before we create the forms, we're gonna just delete all of this. So I see over here. Then create the forms. It will look something like this. Do your first form, click new form, and then we want to create a new feedback. And the feedback, it can be a very simple feedback form for the form name itself. And then we're going to create a form. And then you see that it has added some of our fields, which are the ratings over here. So what we want is to actually add the other fields. So the students, the lessons, and also the teachers. So you just click on the plus and the teachers. So we also need to add two more things. The first one is so single line text, and then you can actually create any new columns inside the form as well. So in this field name over here, what we want is also the good good part of the lesson, right? So essentially we want to know what we are doing good in the lesson, and we want to repeat or maybe improve even more so that we know how we can make the best lessons as much as we can. Second thing we also want is improvements, right? So if there are someone who might not like our lesson, then we want them to feedback as well in the improvement section over here. So usually what you can do is you can move around the students, that's what you see over here, the lessons, and also the teachers rating as what you see over here. Okay, so usually I don't like students and then add students. So I'm gonna choose here, change the title to choose your name. So when you do this, it doesn't change the field title, it just changes the thing that it's representing. So you see here, the title is just feedback form. You click on choose your name, the source is students, all right? And then after that, we want to change the layout from cards to pills so that we don't have add student to not get confused. So when you click on this plus, you can see that it actually shows all the student name. So that's one good thing about using Airtable is that it actually connects to the students that you want to show, so the students don't have to like keep on typing their name. Second is lessons as well. Same thing. What we're gonna do is change the layout to pills, and then you can name the lessons as lessons or choose the lesson. Okay, the next thing that I forgot is also when the lesson has been created. So we can click on plus, dates, and then this is lesson dates. So at the same time, I usually like to use the friendly date as well. So it's easier to see, create the field, and then you see the lesson date. So you can leave it as is. And lastly, the teachers, you can check who was the teacher for the lesson. And then after that, change the pill to the plus. That's what you see over here. All right, so then that's where you can just change around and put the different format. That's what you see, so something like this. So the next thing is how we curate the teacher. That's what you see over here. And then at the right hand side there's this appearance helper text. Click on it and then you can add helper text. So usually what I'll do is that to just tell them that the star means 1 star is horrible and 10 star is excellent, something like this. That's what you see over here. Okay, same thing with this. So I'm gonna put the helper text first so it's easier as what you see. And then I will say how would you rate the lesson slides if you have any. And lastly, the homework and exercises as well, right? That's what you see over here. Okay, so this is something that will help in terms of improving your tuition or education business. Next part is also you want to know what is the good part of the lesson. So usually I'll put here what do you like about the lesson, and lastly what do you think can be improved under the improvement column as what you see over here. Okay, so the last part is that to make sure everything is required. So choose your name, then make it required. Who was the teacher for the lesson? Required. Choose the lesson. Required. Lesson dates? Required. How would you rate the teacher? Required. How to read the lesson? Required. Everything else is also required as what you see over here. Okay, so once this is done, then the next part is to publish the form. So click on publish the form, and then after that, make sure that you also change the access to anyone on the web. So it says here link records will be visible. So just dismiss this first so that what it means is that when you click on the plus, you see all of the different records as what you see over here, which is fine because that's what we want. Same thing with the teacher, we get all the teachers and also choose the lesson as what you see over here. So these are the different things that you can create in the feedback form as what you see over here. All right. So I'm going to add all of the different things that I'm going to add in the feedback form. So pause this video for you to just also add some, you call it dummy data. So once you have added all of your dummy data inside, then click on view data as what you see over here. All right, so you probably have some dummy data inside over here. So the thing is that it's good that now you have a better visibility on how your lessons are doing. So the thing is that one good thing about Airtable is that you can create different views. So what do I mean by views? So create a grid over here. Then after that, you see that there is this grid 2. So what we want is to, number one, see how our teacher is doing. So we're going to create a teacher view as what you see over here, create a new view. And then after that, there is this group button. So click on this group button, and then there are different views for you to group from. So what you want is the teachers grouped. And then there you go. So you see that Madam Johnny has 2 feedback and Mr. Lim has 3 feedback as well. So at the same time, we also don't want to show every single thing. We only want to show the teacher rating and also the students and the lessons as well. So how we do that is we can go to filter, and this is sorry. So what we can do is we can go to hide fields, and this is where we can choose what different columns or fields we want to hide and show. So usually I'll just hide all, and then after that I will click on teacher rating, and then I will click on students, and then I'll click on lessons, and that's roughly about it. If I and also improvement, good part as well. So this is essentially how I would create a teacher view, right? And then at the same time, you also can move the different columns. So usually I'll just go the teacher rating first. That's what you see over here. So the next part is also another thing is I can see what's the average according to the group. So Madam Johnny over here has very good ratings and Mr. Lim has not so good ratings, but you don't know what is the average rating. So what you can do is you click on sum and you see there is different options for you to use the data. So for me, I don't use sum, I use average. So Madam Johnny is scoring 9.5, which is very good, while Mr. Lim is scoring 6.3, which is pretty bad. And that's something that you can work on. So with Mr. Lim, you can see what are the lessons that you need to that he's done, and also the good part and improvement as well, right? So these are things. So second thing is that it's very normal for students to put dashes as well, just a thing to share, because you are going to ask for their what do you call this, the feedback. So this is very very normal. So this is the teacher view. So I'm going to create another view. We're going to create the lesson view, right? So with this you can see what are the things that you can improve on. Same thing, go to group and then to lessons as well, and you see addition and subtraction. So you see that it's being grouped as teacher rating. So this is not what we want, so we are hide all again, and when we want to see the lessons and the homework, good and improvement, that's what you see over here. Okay, so you see that there is the lesson rating, sum. We don't want the sum, we want the average. Okay, so this allows us to see what we are doing well and what we are not doing so well. So subtraction is actually doing well, but for the addition is 7.3. So what are some things that we can improve on, right? Quite boring at the start of the lesson, have more energy, something like this. So these are things that we can work on as well, right? Then lastly, we have teacher, we have lesson, and we have students. So you can type in student view. That's what I see over here. Create a new view, student view, and then after that, group according to students. And this is how you can see the students rating according to every single part of the lesson. So you can, same thing, can just like move around the whole columns. That's what you see over here. And then after that, what we can do is we can just remove the students because that's not what we want. With the lessons, teachers, the email, probably not. And then we'll see the teacher ratings, good part, and the lesson date. That's what you see over here. Okay, so now you have different views of the different things as well. Then you might be thinking, so what do I want? So what if I want to have a view to see an exact date for the exact lesson? So usually what I'll create is this thing called another grid, and I call it filter here. So this is, I call it something that you can filter according. So in this filter, you can actually just filter what you want. So for example, I want to see subtraction at this date. So let's go to filter, add condition, and you see where the date is exact date, and then you can say 15, right? And then there are certain things that is filtered. See the lesson date as well. And then I want to have another one where the lesson itself is exactly, I just want to see addition. So you see that the addition on the lesson date on 15, and this is where you can see, right? So this is what we call filtered view, so that you can see what you want to see. So you can do filtered in all of the views that you have created as what you see over here. So the last part, and what I like about this, is that you can also share the feedback to your teachers. So your teachers know what they can improve on. So let's go to automations. And then after that, you can see when a form is submitted, click on it. And maybe we'll just change this to send feedback to teachers, right? So we know what this whole automation is. So when a feedback form is submitted, so we select a table as what you see over here, and you see feedbacks. Select a form, feedback form. And then let's choose a record. It can be myself as well over here, right? And then use advanced logic or action. So maybe in this case, we're gonna send email. So I don't recommend this send email, because in this send email, you only can collaborate with verified emails, right? So usually what I recommend is to only go for the Gmail. That's what you see over here. Okay, and in this case, we will just connect to our Gmail. So if you don't have a Gmail over here, you can just connect to Gmail account and then just choose your Gmail account, right? So I have one, so I will click on this, and this is to someone, right? So this is to the teacher email. So let's type in email, right? Email from teachers. This is exactly what we want, and a value, right? And the subject is feedback, right? from student, right? And then after that, inside the message, then that is where you can add in all of the different data that you want. So in this case, let's put in teacher rating and then colon, put a plus, and then you see there is the teacher rating here, 6 out of 10, right? And then improvement, and then put it here. Then you just put in the improvement. That's what you see over here. And then lastly, good parts. Okay, and just put in the good part of the lesson. Okay, sometimes it goes there. So what you need to do is to go here and good part of the lesson. Okay, then you can generate a preview. And this will create a preview of the Gmail to be sent to the teachers, as what you see over here. And there you go. So you can see that this email will be sent to the teacher, lim@haristuition.com, with a teacher rating, improvement, and good parts as well. So this gives a very fast feedback to the teacher. So the teacher who is good, that you hired well, usually will improve and try to improve from the feedback that you have sent, and also do more of what is good as well. All right, so let's try it out. Let's switch this on. That's what I see over here. And then let's go back to the data. I'm going to send it to myself. So I'm going to put here as Mr. Haris. And then the email will be haris@edugrow.org. And then I'm going to send an feedback to myself. So one good thing about Airtable is that it dynamically update. So who was the teacher for the lesson? I added myself, right? So you can see that, you see Mr. Haris. That's what I see over here. So now I'm just gonna put, like, for example, Bala, and then choose the lesson. So I'm gonna put here addition, the lesson date, maybe today's the lesson date. And then I will say teacher Haris is not really good. The slides are excellent and the homework is not bad. What do you like about the lesson? Haris is Haris is boring. What do you think can be improved? Maybe have Kahoot quizzes, something like that, right? So this kind of feedback actually can help a lot, right? Click submit, and there you go. So now if I were to go to my Gmail, then it should show inside my Gmail. That's what I see over here, right? There you go. So feedback from student, Haris, 5 or 10, maybe a Kahoot quiz, Haris boring. Hopefully I'm not so boring. All right, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want more of this kind of video, subscribe down below and comment down on what are the things that you want me to, help you create and automate. With that, see you in the next one. Bye-bye.